Good morning. I'm going to give you guys another general drill today. This is something we call cross driving, and it is again not necessarily a way you're going to move a lot in fighting, but it's a foundational drill. Really works on body awareness and making sure that we're moving the right way to generate power and stay in balance. So we talked a lot last time about driving with the back foot, and we were doing this kind of slow motion thing, and this was all in a line. The cross driving drill, what we're going to do is we're going to shift our weight out, and so the front foot becomes the back foot, and so we're going to be stepping off the line in either direction. And so as I step, when I come off this back foot, I'm actually going to pivot on the front foot, and you see that that's going to drive my hips to the side, and so this is now my back foot and it's pushing me across. So I'm not falling and turning the back foot. A lot of my students, when they first get this, they end up in a position that kind of looks correct because they fall and turn, but it's not doing anything. So you want to make sure that you're going to step out and then you're going to cross pivot, and now we're going to do it the other way. So now this foot will become the back foot by driving and pivoting. And so we're really making sure that this foot is pushing our body across. And so we're just going to drive and pivot across the line. I know it looks a little silly, but it has some good payoff later, so bear with me. So again, we're gonna drive across, just make sure that every time you're feeling, you're kind of grinding peanuts. It's a little bit like throwing a boxing hook. My coach used to tell us that we were grinding peanuts with the front foot to generate the power. We're doing that motion, driving now our body across. One of the things that I do with my students sometimes, although this is not really a weapon drill, is I will have them grab their sword so that, once they're here, they can actually feel how this will power a shot. And then they can bring it to this shoulder and power a shot. So you can see that I'm driving the body with the foot. And I think when I give my students a sword, because everybody wants to generate good power with their weapon, weapons are sexy, footwork is not, that seems to help them kind of make that mental connection of driving with the back foot as opposed to kind of falling and catching. So we will get on the line, and in our club we have lines on the floor that we do a lot of our footwork along. And so if you have a floor or a crack in the linoleum, piece of tape, whatever you're doing, make sure that your center line, your core, is getting across the line to this side and then across the line to this side. And that will help you make sure that you are driving with the back foot. And again, not falling and just turning where you kind of look like you got in the right spot, but it didn't actually do anything. We want the pivot and the drive to actually be accomplishing something, or there's no point. One example of application for this that I'm going to give you is kind of a cross-stepping hanging guard drill. So this is a weapon drill. I think by now everybody's familiar with some version of the hanging guard drills where we step forward and back in a line. This is pretty common in just millions and millions of videos and lots of different sword arts. And then we also do the stepping off where we step under, then we pivot, then we step under, and we pivot. I've shown this one before. The double step is from here where we're actually going to step to the left with a parry and then drive across. And if you see what I'm doing is when I step here with the pivot, because I landed on the ball of the foot, I'm now using that hip drive to put my body the other way. So this is helpful. I find when I have opponents who rush me, if they're starting to come in heavily with their body and I want to use a little bit of a body fake, I can step out and use this drive and pivot to reorient my body going the other way. But I get them to commit their charge coming here, and then I can scoot out the other side. So we're gonna step, pivot, and come out, and we can do it the other way. Step, pivot, and come out. And so the drill is just step, pivot, come out, reset, step, pivot, come out, reset. And you can see that I'm using that cross-driving motion. This is good because the alternative, or what we see happen a lot, is that people will kind of land and they'll try to shuffle to the side. It's not as effective, it's not as sharp. The transition is a little laggier and slower, but also if I step and shuffle to the side, my shoulders and my hips are not primed for a good counterattack. And so this cross-driving motion allows me to move, but because it's torqued my hips this way, you can see bringing my hips back gives me a lot of kind of body motion to power the next shot. And so I'm not relying on my arms. And if I'm just kind of crab scuttling to the side, it doesn't work as well. And my arms are, my body's kind of in a neutral spot that isn't efficient at generating good mechanics. So even without a weapon, just work on the step, that cross drive, and we can do this with a hanging guard, or we can just do it with another parry if we want. And then now I have a lot of body motion to power the next shot. So play with the cross drive, play with this one example of application, and if you have questions on other ways to apply it or it really doesn't make any sense to you, please send me a message. In June, we'll jump into some more of the historical plays, but we're kind of working on some general skills. And really what's happening is we're working on things in the club, and I'm thinking, that might be useful for everybody, and then I throw it up online. So if there's something you're working on, I'm happy to take a look at it. Have a good day.